So, this is my review of Fast 9, my late review of Fast 9. I did not get to see it in the theater when it came out, and now it's on VOD. I thought I'd check it out. I did not like Fate of the Furious. I've only really liked, of the newer ones where they're doing spy action movie bullshit, I've really only liked Fast 5 and Furious 7. Um, I think these movies are pretty dumb, but whatever. This might turn into a rant because I didn't really care for this movie that much. But let's get into it. It's directed by Justin Lin. He's done a few of the other ones, definitely Tokyo Drift, which definitely comes up in this one. It starts off with a flashback of Dom and his secret brother that we didn't know anything about. Because we are jumping the shark just that bad at this point. His dad is racing. The brother, who's played by John Cena in this, the character, I think his name is Jacob. He's working on the car and everything, but then, the dad dies, and it turns out it was because of what Jacob, Dom's brother, did to the car. So that's why he's been kind of disowned from the family. In current day, Dom and Letty, they're taking care of Dom's kid. The mother of that kid got killed in Fate of the Furious, so they're kind of doing the family thing now. It's real cheesy. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. The rest of the team go to them, and Kurt Russell, he's presumed to be dead, and he was carrying a device, and this group of people took the device and took Charlize Theron's character, Cypher. And so they're holding her hostage, and they have that device and all that. So they have to go after that device, which has two parts, and if they come together, there's a key that you need, and if you have that, you can take control of a satellite and control, I guess, everything. You can hack into pretty much everything that uses code, I guess. The brother, played by John Cena, he turns out to be working for the other group that actually took Charlize Theron and took that device. So they're the ones that are actually trying to, I guess, get it so that they can then maybe rule the world or do something. Positives. I like Tyrese and Ludacris's character. I like them a lot. They have some decent dialogue with one another. The dialogue in the movie, in and of itself, isn't good, but they have some moments. Tyrese, he continues to be the only character that actually is a human being. Everybody knows they go to space at some point in this, and it's dumb as shit. But he's the only one that's like, yeah, we have to go to space, and everybody else is kind of just acting like it's nothing. Like even Ludacris's character. So Tyrese, he works for me. John Cena, I thought he was good in that role, in that character. Looks nothing like Vin Diesel, but whatever. When he's kind of being a little bit more comedic or a little bit more charismatic, where he's like, oh, this is my world now, then he's good. Whenever he has to be real serious, because this is a serious family drama, he's not very good. But for the most part, I thought he was all right in the movie. There's certain things that they do with magnets that's actually pretty cool. I don't really care for too much of the action in this movie, even though it is, for the most part, well shot, well edited, but it's at the end of the day, it's just mindless nonsense. But I did kind of like what they were doing with the magnets. So that's all my positives. These movies, yes, they're dumb. They have no physics and things like that. But the excuse is always that these movies are fun. I did not find this fun. I find it long. I don't care really what happens to the characters, because there are no stakes in this movie at all, like to where characters will get shot at. Like I saw Tyrese just blatantly get shot at and nothing happens. Like it, it's bad when they're putting it in the dialogue now that these characters do all these things and they never get a scratch.
Those are bullet holes from 14 dudes trying to take my head clean off his shoulders. We've taken out cars, trains, tanks. I'm not going to even mention the submarine.
And yet we're still here.
I mean, it's to the point where, especially when the characters are making comments about, or at least one of them, I keep wondering, like, why are you guys even running away from things, right? Explosions go off next to them and nothing happens. You know, there's a point where Tyrese seems like he might be dead. Of course he's not. There's a point where Vin Diesel falls in some water, has a whole little weird dream sequence thing going on, where he goes through multiple parts of his life, and of course he's not going to drown. Like, come on, come on. And of course he's completely fine. He jumps out of a truck at some point last minute before it explodes. Of course he's fine. I don't know why they try to even pretend like there's any stakes or tension in this in the moment, because there isn't any, right? So at a certain point, I've seen cars pile up on each other and smash into each other enough in these movies. At a certain point, like, even the spectacle of it, even the utter craziness of it, other than the magnets, like, you know, and even the magnets at a certain point, it gets old. Your brain has to turn on at some point, right? John Cena does not look like Vin Diesel. These characters are clearly not related to one another. They have these flashbacks where even the flashback characters, they don't look like each other. They don't even look like Vin Diesel and John Cena. Well, spoilers for this aspect of it. But the dad the whole time had told John Cena's character when he was younger to mess up the car because he wanted to throw the race. Did he also want to die? Because there was a point where he said something, some kind of quote or something to Vin Diesel right before he died, and it's like, was he planning to die too, or was it just to mess up the car? Because if that were the case, then it would still be Jacob's fault that he died because he messed up the car to the point where the point where he died and didn't just lose the race. That part was kind of iffy for me. See, this series will do anything. Han is alive somehow. They've retconned that once again, where he was going after the thing that they're going after in this movie the whole time, I guess, in Tokyo Drift. When did Tokyo Drift actually take place? What year was that now? Now that we've messed everything up? They messed up the timeline so that Tokyo Drift is one of the later movies, even though it doesn't make sense. But they just brought him back to life anyway, so they fucked up the timeline for no reason. The guy that played the lead in Tokyo Drift, the guy with the really bad accent, he's in this, and I guess this is supposed to be just a few years after Tokyo Drift, I guess. But like, the dude is clearly like 40 years old. I mean, clearly, and Bow Wow's in this, he's clearly old. I mean, how can you just go along with this? At a certain point, this is just so stupid and poorly written. You have to call it out. You call it out with everything else. You have to call it out with this. They don't even care anymore. This movie was making me laugh. Like, the dialogue is so bad in certain parts. There's like references to Star Wars out of nowhere.
I want guns. I want wheels. Freaking X-Wing fighters. I don't care. The Millennium Falcon, Chewbacca, if you can get a hold of him. One is no object. Go. Go!
At first, I laughed at that, but then the reference goes on for like 5 minutes. Like, no, I'm Han Solo. Oh, no, you're actually Master Yoda because you're a puppet. It's like, what?
No, I'm more of a Han Solo.
No. You're Yoda.
Yoda?
Mm-hmm. Yoda's a puppet. With someone's hand up his ass.
Charlize Theron is in this movie for like no reason up until like the very end, and then the thing that they did with her at the very end was also pretty bullshit. But she's there with a bad haircut, and she's mostly just in a glass box talking shit, and the dialogue's bad. I gotta give some credit to her, because with dialogue like this, she really commits, right? It would have been impossible for me to give these lines of dialogue, especially with those Star Wars references, with a straight face, and somehow she pulls it off. Vin Diesel, from what I heard, Vin Diesel is so hell-bent on these movies being like family dramas. I mean, they already say family, but man, it is so cheesy with some of this shit. Like when it opens with the son and things like that. What do he say? God is in your heart or something as he's talking to him before bed. It's like, this is not you. This is not what these movies are. They're dumb action movies. A little too dumb for my taste, but the really heavy-handed and like really serious moments of drama. They just don't work in this movie. They don't work in these movies. It doesn't work for this. This is not what this is. Vin Diesel, if you want to do some kind of like drama or something, then you can go on and do it. But that is not what these movies are. And it doesn't fit, it doesn't work. It's overly cheesy to the point of almost being cringy in certain moments.
I know you took Jacob in after my father died.
The worst thing you can do to a Toretto is take away their family. That's what you did to Jacob.
I'm not invested. I don't care what happens to the characters. Nothing's gonna happen to them anyway. It just, for me, this doesn't work. It just doesn't. I don't care. I spent a lot of this movie not caring. The only time I actually did really pay attention was when it got just so dumb and so bad that I had to stop the movie and start laughing. Like I had to. I can't imagine. But in the theater, I might have had to step out because I could not stop laughing at some of this stuff. Like some of this is just that bad, right? You could probably guess because they've done it multiple times. The villain is going to turn and be on the hero's side or whatever. It's his brother, so of course that's going to happen at some point. But they go from trying to kill him to like him switching sides and them being cool with it like right away. I mean, he switches sides like that, like at the snap of a finger, to the point where they're then like reaching out their hands to him and everything, like almost immediately. it's it's crazy, and then there's this emotional send off afterward. Like what? Oh, this is ridiculous, man. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's it. I disliked Fate of the Furious more. This one is still somewhat watchable, so I'm gonna give it a rental. But this is still pretty bad, man. At what point is it over? At what point do we stop jumping the shark? Stop retconning like characters' deaths? We've done Amnesia before. Villains turn into the hero side. Long lost brother. We've done so much of this like jumping the shark nonsense already. We're running on fumes at this point. Like, when is this going to be over? This feels like it could be the end, but yet I think they still have one or two more movies they want to do, and they want to bring The Rock back and stuff like that. I don't care. They don't even make sense anymore. They don't even try to make sense anymore, right? Like, these movies are objectively bad. Like, this franchise is objectively bad now, whether you have fun with it or not. And I don't know how you're having fun with these latest ones. Anyway, that's F9. Like I said, rental. It's still watchable, right? It's still got some decent moments, some decent action. So, yeah. I guess we're just gonna keep doing this until they decide to stop. But whatever. That's F9 and I'm done.